Let me just try to very quickly. Just give me a minute as I try to do this. Okay. So that is sort of what my presentation is about: online research tools and social media investigations. And to sort of begin from the beginning of this, in the past, we used to do a lot of our reporting. If you needed to find, go to a library, you comb some books and find some information that you wanted. Then the computer age came, and we especially in the US, they started what they were calling computer-assisted reporting, and it lent a lot towards data journalism. Because with computer tools, you could navigate through a lot of data. You could be able to make some summations from that data, but it was also helping with the kind of reporting, especially with the advent of the internet, the kind of reporting where you'd gather and analyze data that was necessary to produce stories. So this data could be data coming through to you from online, websites, from people who were having sort of online libraries, and for a while, computer-assisted reporting consisted of that. Then we moved into the social media age, which has provided even more tools that are useful to investigative journalists. And I'll go into that in a bit of detail once we get through the introductory part. So computer-assisted reporting, like this book, was done by Brant Houston, who is currently the board chairman of the Global Investigative Journalism Network. And he's a professor. He's really led, tried to point people in the right direction towards these things, with the computer-assisted reporting, online research, and of course now social media investigations. And we are actually now moving to intelligence. I'm sure you're to interact with that. We have a newsletter coming out tomorrow, and I think there are 2 or 3 opportunities which individual journalists or newsrooms can apply for to begin to venture into artificial intelligence with the London School of Economics. So if you're somebody who is interested, and look out for our newsletter. If you haven't subscribed, I can share with you a link right now so that you're able to subscribe and try to get to those opportunities, because I think it's really useful that to stay ahead of the curve, you need to be thinking about these things, not just what is happening today, but also what is happening going forward. So online research, what does it mean? It simply means a method that involves collection of information from internet sources, most of which are online. And this, the internet has helped to simplify a lot of the research that we do now, which was harder with earlier book-based methods, which I mentioned earlier. We're now able to just sit on the computer and be able to pick information from, any corner of the world. In the past, some of these tools were really only available to people who were in advanced economies, but the beauty of what is happening now with some kind of democratization of the internet is that you're able to use the same tools that these guys at Al Jazeera, at BBC, and CNN are using, because those tools are available, most of them free, and you can actually, the only thing you have to do as an investigative journalist, or as a journalist generally, is to educate yourself about how to use these tools. So if you can spare time and be able to, acquaint yourself with these tools, you'll definitely be able to do some of the kind of reporting that these guys are doing. I'm just trying to move to the next slide. Okay. So we're done with online research. Like I said, we then move to social media investigations, and these have involved social media investigations. Really involved detailed analysis of social media accounts of either individuals or organizations, and these accounts give you all kinds of information: social media posts, people's status updates, when people are replying to other posts, or the kind of photos they share, the video content they share, the dates and times when they post certain things can be useful hints that can help you investigate certain things. The kind of people who have their friends on Facebook or the people they follow on Twitter can also be good pointers, and also the groups they follow. All these are quick pointers. If any of you has watched the BBC Africa Eye investigation called The Anatomy of a Killing, where they managed to find the soldiers who killed some ladies and their children. They shot the ladies and children when the children were tied on their backs. It was a very gruesome killing. When these guys found the basic information they needed, in fact, they found a nickname of one of the soldiers and went on Facebook and typed that the nickname of that soldier. They were able to find his real name, his picture, and all the other information that would then help them actually say this is the guy who was behind some of the killings. In the video, that all the other soldiers were mentioning was his nickname, but because he was using the same nickname alongside his other names on his Facebook page, it was very easy to eventually get him through that. So social media research has become a very big tool for investigations. Another way people use it is what we call where you gather videos shared by people who are on the scene, and eventually you begin to study those videos. And again, it is doing a good job of using some of these tools alongside, I think, Bellingcat. There's an organization called Bellingcat. When they did a documentary on the killings after the arrest of a Ugandan presidential candidate, Bobi Wine, they just went to Facebook and picked all the videos that people were sharing about what was happening when there were those protests against the arrest of Bobi Wine. And once they put them together, they were able to actually piece together a story and investigation, including the car which the police and the military who were killing people were using. Of course, that information is now out there in the public. The authorities have tried to dispute it, but people know that these were the cars and these were the officers who were involved in those incidents. So social media is helping to offer insights into some of the unfiltered thought processes of individuals and the thinking within some organizations, because for some reason, social media it makes us feel we can share our deepest thoughts in our unguarded moments. And so if you want to begin to understand sort of how somebody thinks, then you can use social media for that. And I think in Uganda, where I am, for instance, the tweets of President Museveni's son really serving as pointers to sort of his thinking process. And so the public is getting to know him through what he shares on social media. Also, sometimes public officials will share, I'm in this place doing this, which you would ordinarily not know that this person was actually of something, but because of what they share innocently, most times, you will be able to find some detail about them that would not have been available to you. So if you look at the evolution of IJ research or journalism research, generally, we're moving from paper and pen-based research. We've done a computer-assisted reporting. We're doing online research. We're doing social media investigations. And I think the future, which I haven't included here, but which you should consider very, very critically, is artificial intelligence. There's a lot going on in that space, and you should try as much as possible to become part of that conversation. When you look at the tools to aid with online research, there's a lot that you can use. You can use these tools to find information that is archived, information that maybe was put on websites but is no longer there. I hope we'll have time for me to demonstrate how people are doing that. We have fact-checking and verification tools, also many of them. Open source investigation tools, again, we'll look at some of those. Crowdsourcing tools, and crowdsourcing tools are really these social media platforms that are available, because today you can go to Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn and you say, guys, I'm investigating this story, or I'm trying to do this kind of story. Is there anyone who has experiences on this who can share those experiences with me? And people begin to volunteer information with you. You're sourcing for information from the crowd, to put it simply. That is what they mean by crowd-sourced information. And then there is also what is now being called the user-generated content. So users of these platforms generate the content and share it on their respective accounts. And you as a journalist can actually manage to bring together all that information, like I said, like the BBC Africa Eye team did, as long as you're able to verify that information with many other sources. Don't just take it for granted that because you have found something, you can use it. There's a lot of also manipulation that is going on the internet, so you want to be careful how you use that information. So the traditional methods of reporting still apply. The social media research and online research can give you tips, and can give you some information, tip you that, oh, this is happening, oh, this person has done this. But the challenge for you as a journalist is to try to find this information with as many sources as possible, such that by the time you publish it, you're actually confident that you can defend that information and say, I have checked with all my sources, other sources, and I confirm that this is what happened. Otherwise, of course, people can sue you. People can deny that information happened, or at the very worst, you can end up looking a fool because somebody managed to dupe you and give you wrong information that you then share without verifying. And of course, when that happens, your credibility as a journalist is what suffers. So the other tools, we have all these mobile journalism tools, which can be used, video verification, geojournalism. Geojournalism tools are really tools that help you with the issues to do with, say, investigations of climate issues, environment, and I'll share with you some of them that you can use. Then, of course, data journalism tools and tools for finding expert sources can also be quite useful. We talk geojournalism, and this is one of the things that you can use. Of course, you can use satellite images. And I think I shared this earlier in our last presentation. And has put together 10 places that you can go to find free images, including high resolution images that have been taken using satellites. And most of this is free, which is why I said that these days, the tools that were available to people from advanced economies are now available to us. As long as we know where to look, we should be able to find some of the kind of resources that these guys used to have been using in the past for doing their stories. One of those tools is called the Global Forest Watch. I'm sure some of you are already using it. I have used it myself to do some stories. I used it to look at deforestation of a chimpanzee habitat in Western Uganda, around the Budongo and Bugoma forest reserves. And this, I hope I can share with you this presentation, because the link here takes you to a YouTube video on how to use the Global Forest Watch tool for those of you who haven't used it before. So something like this can help you to, for instance, find out how much forest cover has been lost in a given area over a period of time, up to even 10 years or more, because these guys are collecting this information using satellite data, and they are able to then give you the latest information on how much forest cover has been lost in any given forest. So sometimes I see people do stories on loss of environmental cover, loss of forest cover, and they're just guessing how much, or they're using outdated information of how much forest cover has been lost. So either they're using outdated information or they are estimating, but they don't have the real information. But this one has up-to-date information, up to the present, because they are collecting this data, I think, on an hourly basis. So that's one good tool for your online research if you're an environmental journalist. I'll share this. Then before I go into this about what you need to watch out for, let me just stop this and go back to where many of these tools are, because I think it's important that you get to see the tools. So let me go to another. Just give me a minute. Sorry, I seem to have lost my. Okay, I think I've got it back. Okay, so I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here, because all the tools are in one place. Tools for online research, online investigations, social media research. I mentioned to you earlier an organization called Bellingcat, which has a compilation of all the online tools that you want to use for your online research and investigations. If you look here, I'm clicking at the bottom left of my screen, you'll see they have guides on how to get started in using their open source research tools. A beginner's guide to social media verification. And they have all these all this basic information about their website. As you can see, the Bellingcat website is there, and all that, their Twitter account, and Then if you go, let me just read a little bit about the toolkit. It says, welcome to Bellingcat's freely available online open source investigation toolkit. This toolkit includes satellite and mapping services, tools for verifying photos and videos, websites to archive web pages, and much more. Then if you go here, this is for image and video verification. I'm sure many of you have used some of these tools like InVid, which you can use to verify images and video. Then the Google Lens can also be used for doing reverse image searches. I think this is the most basic one which you can use. I think many of you have used it before. Let's just see if I can open it. As it opens, let's go and see what others are. SunCalc is used for making an approximation of the time of the day using a shadow. Now, the good thing about this toolkit is that if you look here on the row name E, you'll see that some of them have guides on how to use these tools. So a guide to using reverse image search for investigations, using the sun and shadows for geolocation. So all you have to do is click here, open up this. I hope you're seeing it, right? Are you able to see what I'm sharing?
Yeah, we are seeing it. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so and then to lead you to the guide on how you use this resource, and you basically use it you follow it step by step. You should be able to use it. Then if you look at row E, it says, is this resource free? And you can see most of them, it says free. This one is partially free. This is for facial recognition, but that one is partially free. But almost everything else is free. You don't have to pay any money to be able to use it. And then there is a description of how you can use it. So you really have to, I can't, of course, take you through many of them in this maybe 2 hours of our conversation. But if I share with you these links, you should be able to read through it and be able to use those that you'll understand how to use. But if you put in more time, because really once somebody has provided you with this kind of resources, the best investment you can make in yourself is to spare time and try to learn how to use these tools. If there is any that is giving you a headache or where you have a problem, you can always reach out and we see together how we can be able to use this tool to verify some of these things. Okay, I wanted to, I think, can you see the Google page? See the Google page?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here you, of course, when you want to search for anything, you are able to search, just typing something. I'm just typing a name, for instance, Aria Golden, and you search, and you're able to see anything associated with for some reason my internet is very slow today. Sorry about that, but which I think is going to take time. But what I wanted to demonstrate is that if you go to your right-hand side, you'll see images. You'll see the word images there. And if it opens for you this kind of, usually you'll see Google images with images at the bottom. You can, just like you search using words, you can search using images. You just click here where it says search by image. The problem is this is slow, so we can't go as fast as I would. If you click here, it will show you images you publish online. Once you click here, pop up will take you to where your images are. You use the image here, and then you'll be able to check if that image has been used online before. Because of the slow internet, we can't go through that process, but I think some of you, I'm sure, have already done that. Now, that's the most basic one of them. But if you look at all these other verification or research tools like InVid, which other research tools are, image research tools are there? You should be able to find all that you need. I think there should be. So if you're looking at just image research tools, you have TinEye, RevEye, InVid.
Hello, you know about
Okay. So again, these are not the only tools available. I'm just going to scroll through all of them. You can see here, social media research tools. You have a description, whether it is free, and in some cases, a guide on how to use them. You can do such as Facebook, you can do on Google, on Instagram, LinkedIn, all these that you can use. Researching people using online tools, you have Scholar, you have Get in Contact, and many other. We can't go through. The problem is we can't demonstrate at the moment, but let's just run through some of them. I seem to have gone offline. Can you see me? Can you see the what I'm showing?
Mute himself.
Hello, just let me know if you can see what I'm sharing. So I'm sharing about maps, satellites, and street view. All these are tools you can use. You can monitor what's happening in the air through the plane finder and other FlightAware. All these are tools for monitoring what's happening with the planes in the sky. You have Global Fishing Watch for monitoring what's happening in the seas or marine traffic. You have that. Then you have this one is website analysis. So you can see that there are lots of tools, including, for company finance and all that, if you need to. Environment, if you're an environmental journalist, you have tools for monitoring the environment, including the Global Forest Tool Watch, which I talked about earlier, plus the Environmental Justice Atlas, the World Database for Protected Areas. All these have they're rich on information which you can use for your investigations. Then these are for non-English speakers, China, Korea, so maybe that's not really helpful for us. And let me see, they should have here a tool for safety and security when you're doing your online research. Maybe, yes. So how to protect, how to have security in your inbox, and all these other kinds of research tools for your safety and security. And there are more. You can see it's a whole rich collection of tools. The Wayback Machine, if you've used the Wayback Machine, is used for finding website information that has been, deleted. If a website is no longer active, this Wayback Machine collects all this information from 10 years ago, 20 years ago. They have it kept somewhere. So once you search, just like you search on Google, but using the Wayback Machine, you're able to find a lot more information than would have been possible through the normal ordinary searches. So that is also a useful tool. Pinpoint is a very, very useful tool. I hope you can use it. It's a Google tool, but it has lots of interesting tools in there, including for transcribing and transcribe for you an interview. You just log in your interview, leave it to play for maybe 1 hour. You go back and you just manage to correct if there are any mistakes, because of course it can't, for instance, know some of our names, the way we spell them, some accents, like maybe ours, because it's programmed more on the white man's accent. So because ours is a bit different, sometimes it misspells some words. So for you to just be about correcting that instead of going to transcribe everything from the word go. This tool has really simplified my life because I do a lot of interviews and I don't have the time to transcribe all the interviews I do. But these days I can put it and I go and do something else. After 1 hour, I come back and all my information is there in text form, and yet what I put in was sound. Okay, so I'll share with you a link to this tool, and I hope you can be able to run through it and navigate and see what is available there. The second one that I want to share is the BBC Africa Eye Forensics Dashboard. This is also a very, very rich tool with a collection of online research tools, social media investigation tools, which are so many and useful for so many different things. It's almost similar with the Bellingcat tool, but it has some things which are different. But also the way it is structured makes it much easier to follow and see which tool you can use for what. If you look at, can you see the BBC Africa Eye Forensics Dashboard? Somebody just tell me if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, great, thank you. So this one has mapping resources, it has cybersecurity tools, advanced Google search tools. If you want to track aircrafts, you can use this tool. Archiving tools, we talked about the Wayback Machine, Hunchley and others are also there. SunCalc is one of the they call it chronolocation, trying to tell time by using some of these tools. You know, if you see, for instance, a video, you can use this tool to tell video or shot. You have, and there are tutorials down here of how to use many of these tools. So if you need any tutorial, image and video forensics, InVid, I talked about it. Yandex is another reverse image search tool, TinEye, and so many others. If you're covering militaries and conflict resources, there's a whole collection of tools here for online research. Satellite imagery, Google Street View for some places where the images are up to date, can also be available. Social media research or social media search. There's a whole collection of tools here. What I'm challenging you to do is to look at these tools. If you use the two toolkits, the one from Bellingcat, which has some guides, and the one from BBC Africa Eye, which also has its own guides, but sometimes it has more than Bellingcat in some cases. In other cases, Bellingcat has more than them. So between these two tools, tool guides, sorry, you should be able to get to know how to use a good number of these resources. The best thing these guys have done is make sure all these collection of tools are in one place. and most of them are free. So it is up to you as a journalist who is curious to say, I want to look through some of these tools and see which ones would work best for me to do my research. If you have a problem, please reach out. This is what the Internet Archive, the Wayback Machine looks like. Again, because of slow internet, I may not be able to do the searches I could have used to demonstrate, but you can see the way it is structured, and all you would have to do is you type here, you know, independence. So I'm just typing like a random thing like South Sudan independence celebrations. Some websites might be, they were closed, but if you search using this Wayback Machine, sometimes you're able to, not even sometimes, for the most part, you will find information about these websites which have shut down. So if you were looking for what somebody said in 2010 on their website, but the website is no longer active, but you really need that quote for a story that you're doing, you come here. If there are documents which were published on the website in 2010 or 2008 or whatever, and if you need that information, if you do the search, for the most part, you will find it on this website. So if you're somebody who does a lot of reference to historical happenings, this is the place you want to be. They say they have 804 billion web pages, which they have over time. Because it's the internet is not open for you quickly enough, but I'll share with you the links. I think I'll send it by email like I did last time, and you should be able to do this research by yourself. Okay, as it tries to open, let me just share another page here. So it gives you webs in this form, and so it tells you this 1,105,000 links were captured between 2008 and 2016. These ones were captured in 2002, this one 2010 to 2012, this one 2001 to 2016, 2006 to 2008 on these different websites. So, and this is a random search. So if you had something more specific, you'd search here and it will show you what it served about that issue in a given period of time. The GIJN website, if you can see that, also has a series of tip sheets about searching on the net, including illustrations on how you can, for instance, using quotation marks to link words together. So if you want to say John, if you put John Major as just two separate words, it gives you two separate things. But if you put quotation marks, then you, for instance, a name of a person, then you're able to get information specific to that name because you put quotation marks. So, basic things like that, which may be difficult to, which you don't think about, or seems like it needs a bit of technical expertise, but it's explained here step by step, and you're able to then do those kinds of searches. So I will share with you these links such that you're able to and take your time to learn from what they are offering here. Having showed you what is possible, let me just go back and show you very quickly what you should look out for. Okay, so like we said, the internet is useful, but it can also mislead you. It has people, all kinds of characters who are doing all kinds of clever things, which sometimes are not in your interest. So if you're doing online research, you need to watch out, or online research, verification, fact checking, all these things. If you're trying to do them, you must watch out for deceptive headlines, opinions that are presented as facts, distortions of information, and then made up facts, and then details that are neglected. Then there are all sorts of pseudo experts who misrepresent things. So you need to check, make sure you check their credentials and their statements to make sure that if you're going to quote someone, that you actually are quoting the right person. Then share names. There are many people who impersonate others, so you don't want to fall victim to that. People manipulate data to be able to present things that are in their favor. So if you get a report, just make sure online, you just make sure you look through at least the methodology, the questions that are asked, the clients, who are their clients, because sometimes clients influence what information people share as research. Then if you're using sort of another media as your source of information, please verify that the claims they are making are factual, because sometimes people make claims that are not factual. People manipulate photos when you're doing Google reverse image searches. You want to make sure that you check and make sure that the images are authentic. Check for the source. Is that source authentic, or is it possible that those guys could have rigged the image to present something that is not correct? Video tricks. People use all kinds of tricks to manipulate images. So you need to closely examine for such manipulations before you use any kind of information. Now, these I was expounding on this other information about what you need to watch out. Which tools do you use for verifying any of these things? For instance, if you're doing reverse image searches to avoid photo manipulation, which tools? I have already tried to touch on to that. And also, what are you looking for? People do editing photos, for instance, using a Photoshop and all that. You don't want to fall victim to that. Researching videos, I have touched on that, so I will not, because of time, I will not go into detail on that. Researching websites, all these websites can help you with research. I will not go into detail on that because of time, but at least there are brief explanations. When I share with you the presentation, you will see, for instance, whois.com helps find out who is behind a certain website. If you put a website, if you search for a website on whois.com, it should be able to show you these individuals, or this is the organization behind the website. Spyonweb.com will help you see what other domains are hosted on the same IP, things like that, which I'll not go into a lot of detail into because of that. Researching Twitter accounts, there's quite a bit of websites here as well, which can help you. Polar.me to inspect a Twitter account's history. You find what this person has said in the past about certain things, such that you see whether they are contradicting themselves and that kind of thing. Botometer.com helps you to check if the account is likely to be a robot account. So I'll not go into all that detail, but again, tools are there. You just have to read about the tool and what it does. Searching locations, we've handled a bit of this, but the reason I put this here is because it then gives you links to click on and go to where you can do the, you can enter into, for instance, searching for images, the way I was trying to demonstrate, Google Earth, and also Google Street View. And finally, we have a help desk at JN. If you have any issue, you can always write to us and say, I'm trying to use this resource. We can help you directly, or if we cannot help you because maybe the level of expertise is higher than what we have within our virtual newsroom, then we will refer you to an expert, somebody who can help you with this. I remember a South African journalist, I think late last year, reached out to me and said, I have these videos and I got them off CCTV. I'm having problems doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things with them, but I need to use them in a story. I didn't have the expertise myself on how to navigate that, but I referred him to somebody called Benjamin Strick. If you put Benjamin Strick on YouTube, he does a lot of open source investigations and he's an expert in that area. I put him in touch with that guy, and that guy helped him to address the problem that he had with the videos that he had sourced from a CCTV camera in some building. So sometimes we may not be the ones to help you directly, but through the Global Investigative Journalism Network, as you hear the word, we have a network in different countries. People who use these tools, you know, on a day-to-day basis, know how to use them so well, and they are always willing to help other journalists around the world who want to use similar tools. So all you have to do is to reach out at hello, HELLO, at gign.org, or you reach out via my email, and we can be able to refer you to someone who can help. Okay, I think I've run through everything and compensate for the time we had lost earlier. Now, if there are any questions, please ask them now. I will respond to them. Thank you.
Yes. I got a question.
So any questions? This is the time. I'm sharing with you some of these links right now. The Bellingcat toolkit and the BBC Africa Eye dashboard. You should be able to pick them now, even before I send the majority of the other resources by email that Emmanuel can share later on. Okay. There is a half logo. I hope I pronounced your name well. I'm using an accent from Teso in Uganda. There is a hand up. Please go ahead.
Yes. My question is goes up like this. For the video investigations, you know, sometimes people used to change up the face of someone, and used to change up the face of someone. The owner of who really speak up, and they brought another energy and fix on that very person who before you saw on the video. How will you identify just kind of videos where face has been changed as a journalism? Hello? 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 Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear. Yeah, I can hear you. It's like
Okay.
you're not
So
hearing
I
me.
missed out on what you were saying because my internet went off briefly. But please go
Okay.
ahead and ask again. Yeah.
Okay. My question goes up like this: how will you identify a picture? I mean, a video which a person has been changed. Okay, the face has been changed. You know, the world is being organized with a lot of things. Sometimes people used to change the face of someone and fix into your video. And the really owner who speak up and that sometimes wrote another picture and fix on that. How will you identify a correct person who is inside that video? Because it's really hard sometimes to identify.
So I am not an expert on checking for video manipulation, but what I've heard from the experts is one, it is much harder to verify videos, yeah, compared to verifying still images. So with still images, if you go to, for instance, Photoshop, you can begin to peel off particular bits of the video, and you can actually see that, oh, this was manipulated, this was not. But with video, it's a bit harder to do that, yeah. It is much more difficult, especially because they're improving tools and all that. But there's a tool called I think it's the YouTube Data Viewer. It helps you make certain verifications. It's what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a link with the. Give me a minute. I have shared with you a GIGN toolkit on tracking names and websites, verifying videos. That toolkit has a lot of resources on video verification, which you can use for that. There's also, you can also use, you can also do verification of some of these videos, even using a phone. And again, we have a guide, step-by-step guide on how to verify using your smartphone. So I have shared with you the links to the two, but just bear in mind that it's always harder to verify videos compared to images, still images, because of the way the videos are all, because of the way they do the verification and the tools they use. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, dear. Thanks a lot. Suppose I got a lot of questions that I gotta keep. We have a lot of people in, so thanks a lot.
Sorry, I can't hear. It's not clear enough. I'm sorry.
I mean to say, I got a lot of questions. So
yes,
because I have to give more chance to paper. That's great.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. You said you have a lot of questions. It's all right. You can share with me. We can always have a conversation by email for the additional questions. I have shared again my email just in case you were part of the first session. I've shared my email. You can always pick that. Yes, Moses, you said another tool which can be used to verify videos is InVid. Yes, I had already mentioned InVid, which is part of that toolkit that I had shared. Actually, the two toolkits I shared from Bellingcat and from BBC Africa Eye. Both of them have InVid, but the YouTube video tool is also quite useful. The data viewer for doing other kinds of verifications for for videos. So please take a look at those resources and you'll definitely be able to use them to do some of that verification. Okay, any other questions? Going once, twice, thrice. Okay. Emmanuel?
Attendant.
Yes, Deng.
I'm asking whether there is attendant.
Okay, I think that will be for Emmanuel to take up. Yeah, but if you have any direct question regarding the presentation I've made, I can respond to it in the next 1 or 2 minutes because we're going to 4:30 and I was hoping I can do it.
Sorry about the attendance. Hello, Benon.
Hello, yes?
Yeah, sorry about the attendance. Dida dropped off due to network problems. So when he comes before the meeting ends, he will share the attendance. If there's still anything, you can continue as for now.
Okay, great. So I'm hoping we will stop by 4:30, in which case we will have done about 2 hours from 2:30 to 4:30. So we have about now 3 more minutes for you to ask any question if you have about the presentation or generally journalism, a conversation we can have now before we end the session.
Okay. Be back, Lobul Khanai.
Yes.
Yeah. I have one single thing that always flicks me up because one way as being as a journalist, like Haynes has it is, and sometimes it's a bit little difficult for some other people to enter in and get the true information. Okay. Sometimes what would be the granted what would be the granted ways as long as you say you talk about the journalist data? You talk about what before you talk about the data. Okay, in simple way. As long as you, as here in South Sudan, you miss a lot of things. One, as long as tracking systems like the satellite system, where do you every locations where either during any conflicts which is happening, was to get the correct statistic. How would you manage to get correct information sometimes than someone explain it to you? Sometimes there's a biological place where one will not be in the present terms like the Red Cross. In such ways, as a children, how do you recover such violence whether you're not there?
Yes, so I think in places where you're not, I think it would be important for you to build a network of people who can inform you what's going on there. And for that, you don't have to wait for something to happen before you can build that network. You want to begin building that network as soon as possible on any subject, that every time you get an interest in something and you anticipate that at a later stage, I may need to do stories in this area, you want to begin to grow that network of people who can share with the information. Those sources can be official, people in positions of authority who can trust you with that information, or they can be people who live in that community who can also trust you with the information. The key thing is to make sure that any information that anybody gives you, you also have other ways of verifying it. Now, when it comes to technology, the key thing is to know where to find the tools which can give you the information you want. In these 2 hours that we have had this conversation, I have tried to show you that, there are tools for almost everything if you want to find information about just about anything. The biggest challenge we have is knowing where those tools are. And in this case, I have tried to share with you the 2 organizations that have managed to collect all these tools and put them in one place. Now, again, that is not the end of it. So if, for instance, somebody tells you, oh, you can find information about, loss of forest cover using the Global Forest Watch tool. You may watch the video, the YouTube video, and see how to use the tool, but it's also important you can go and you can find the contacts of the people behind that video, behind that tool, and then you write, I want to use your tool. Can you help me with, a 30-minute session to guide me on how to use this tool? Or can you send me a guide on how to use this tool? So networking does not just stop with places where you want to get information from human sources, but even in online and social media research, there are also human sources who can help you to find the information you need, and you should take advantage of them. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay, thanks. There are 2 other hands up. A hand up as well. Either of you can ask your question.
I have a question on the search tools.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I need you to go through the search of locations. There's somebody or something that happened within the locations sometimes back, for example.
A search for a location of somebody?
Yeah. A message that I want to know where the message was sent from.
Where the message was sent from? It came by phone.
Yeah. Somebody just sent a message and is requesting me to send some money for him, but I don't know the person.
Yeah.
And he was just send the message on my inbox on Twitter.
That's an email. Sorry, that was a text message, right?
Yeah, text message.
Okay, so if you go to the Bellingcat, the toolkit that I have shared on the chat box, and you find item number 4, you will find how to search for people, phone numbers, emails, username. Yeah. Then if you find the app called Truecaller, and if you can feed that contact there, it should be able to tell you who the person is, who that phone belongs to. So if you can do that, you should be able to find the name of the person who sent that message using Truecaller. Then there's also Get Contact. It's another app. But each of these, you should not give them permission to your own contact list, because then they will also harvest information from you. So you need to be careful as well. But those two should be able to help you with what you're trying to find.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So just check that Bellingcat toolkit, item number 4 from the bottom, left to right. Number 4 should give you how to search for people, their phones, emails, and usernames. Okay, Joseph?
Thank you.
Yeah. Mine is not a question, actually, it is a request. For you, maybe, I don't know whether in the WhatsApp group, if you could share with us these links in the WhatsApp group and maybe the slides, because from the chat box here, I'm trying to copy the link, but I'm failing. So maybe from the WhatsApp, the link can be there anytime that I need, then I can get it. But here
Okay.
it will be hard to get after the session has ended.
Okay. So did you get the last slides that I sent? Because I sent them through Emmanuel.
Not really.
Okay, if you can ask him to add me to the group, I will be able to share all these resources. I'll share the presentation, I'll share the links to the tools so that you're able to pick them via your WhatsApp.
Yeah, I think that will be good. It will be better.
Yeah. Just just tell him to add me to the group after this, and I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other hand up? Maybe one last question. If there's no other question, then it's all right. We can end here. If I join the WhatsApp group, we can always continue the conversation, but I've also shared my email. You can always reach out by email. So thank you so much. And I hand over to Moses, I think, who is standing in for.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Benon, for the wonderful presentation and your time. For Joseph, I think that to get the notes, you go to the classroom. Hello?
Okay, to the classroom?
Yeah, the classroom app. That's where every session's notes are kept from there. And then I'll talk to Bida. He also add Ben in the WhatsApp group. However, before he adds, I already copied all these links I will share in the training WhatsApp group. So as Benon said, he shared his email. So whoever wants to reach him, it's easy. You can talk to him in email, and when he comes to the group, it will be more easier. Another reminder is that only we are seeing 2 people who have done their assignments. The rest of you, I don't know how far, but at least you try to step up and you finish your assignments before the end of all the sessions. Otherwise, we are very grateful for your time and commitment. We meet on Thursday this week for the next session. Thank you so much. And thank you, Benon.
Okay, thank you, Moses, and thank you, everyone. See you in the WhatsApp group. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye too, guys. Welcome. Yeah, we're going to watch you better time. Thanks a lot.